The 2023 European Under-23 Team Championship comes to Mâcon, the second final to be staged in France after the visit to La Motte-Landéan in 2019. Tonight, the hosts take on the two top-ranked nations, Poland and Denmark, seeded from last year's championship staged in Tarnów, and Sweden, who made it through a competitive semi-final at Stralsund in May, eliminating the Czech Republic, Great Britain and Germany. Welcome to the Circuit de la Grissière, just an hour's drive from Lyon, a regular host for FIM Europe competitions. Our own cameras were here in 2015 and 16 for European Under-21 action, and the European Pairs final was held here in 2021. The Team Junior semi-final visited in 2018, but at that stage we were racing to an under-21 age limit. This is the third season since that was raised to under-23, so squads have been broadly similar now for the last 3 or 4 years. Taking a look at the lineups, and with the greatest of respect, the inexperienced team from France is unlikely, you'd say, to be a threat. Big commitment though from their riders to be here, because Tino Bouin and Mathias Tresarrieu both had to hand back their places in the European grass track final that also takes place today. With our cameras in Velta, big thanks to Denis Morier from Speedgrass Videos, who steps in for us in Mâcon. Sweden, meanwhile, scored just 13 points compared to 38 for Denmark in the final last year, so it should be a head-to-head between the two top seeds. Denmark already lost Mathias Nielsen to age during the winter, and now track 3 23-year-olds, Tim Sorensen, Mats Hansen and Jonas Seifert-Salk, who together took silver behind Poland by just 4 points at the 2020 Under-21 Team World Championship. So last shot at gold here before a baton change for the bulk of this team that's amassed 4 consecutive silver medals in the Euros, beaten by Poland only in a runoff in 2019, by 6 points in 2020, by 12 in 2021 and by 8 last year. The Poles, 12 times European champions, beaten only in 2008 by Sweden and 2018 by Denmark. They didn't compete in 2011, they've won every other year, and they are the reigning Team World Champions at Under-21 Level 2, which is relevant here because all 3 of those Son 2 winners are in the main body of their side again tonight. We join the action at Heat 3, Poland, Sweden, Denmark and France in that order in both of the opening races. Mateusz Cierniak took the opener ahead of Casper Henriksson and Kevin Juhl Pedersen. France yet to get off the mark with their least experienced riders Theo Ugoni and Tino Bouin. Wiktor Pryzjemski beating Jonathan Grahn and Jonas Seifert-Salk in Heat 2. So Poland lead on 6, Sweden on 4 and Denmark on 2. Surprisingly slow start for the Danes. They hope to bounce back here with Tim Sorensen in the red helmet colour. The 2021 Danish Under-21 champion goes off gate 1. In the white helmet colour for France, gate 2, it's Steven Goret, their top youth rider, an Under-21 world finalist in 2020 and 21, spent last season in the Polish 3rd division, now rides in the Swedish Allsvenskan. Gate 3 in blue for Sweden, that is Noel Wahlqvist. Wahlqvist coming in to replace Gustav Grahn, who announced last month he'd quit the sport. No Philip Hellstrom-Bangs either, he was the team's top scorer in the semi-final in May. The outside gate in yellow. Top scorer for Poland at last year's Under-23 Euros in Tarnów, it's Bartłomiej Kowalski. Starting marshal settles them in then for heat number 3. Sorensen, Goret, Wahlqvist and Kowalski are underway. Flying start off the outside from Kowalski, and Tim Sorensen had to stretch every sinew to get across the path of Steven Goret and Noel Wahlqvist, then hit the mid-track dirt coming off turn 2 and powers clear, leaving a scrap out at the back between Noel Wahlqvist, who just cleared Steven Goret coming off the second bend at the end of lap number 1. Sorensen setting after the early race leader Kowalski as Noel Wahlqvist slows up from 3rd position, and Steven Goret is going to get round him down the back straight and through for 3rd position. So mechanical difficulties for Noel Wahlqvist, and after 2 second places in the opening 2 races tonight, Sweden are going to succumb to a first non-score, and with Tim Sorensen hunting down Bartłomiej Kowalski up at the head of the field, this could even be an opportunity for Denmark to take 2nd position in the meeting standings. As things are in this Heat 3, Sorensen will level the scoring at 4 apiece between the Swedes and the Danes. He's going to have one last go, but I think Kowalski has got enough in hand here. Sorensen with the speed coming off turn 4 closes the gap to a bike length or so across the line, but cannot find a way through. So it is Bartłomiej Kowalski who wins heat number 3. It's a hat-trick for Poland. 3 wins out of 3, they move on to 9. But not for the want of trying from Tim Sorensen. Certainly the best ride from the Danes thus far after 3rd position finishes for Kevin Juhl Pedersen and Jonas Seifert-Salk in the opening 2 races of the day. Sorensen with a determined first turn to box out the Swedes and the Frenchmen. and then chased Bartłomiej Kowalski for all he was worth, just coming up short in the run to the checkered flag. So it's all square now for second place at 4 points apiece between the Swedes and the Danes. Steven Goret puts France's first point of the meeting on the board after that mechanical retirement for Noel Wahlqvist, but it's 3 wins for 3 for Poland, courtesy of Bartłomiej Kowalski in heat number 3. Heat 4 next up, and a great matchup in prospect here between Jakub Miśkowiak of Poland and Mads Hansen of Denmark. Old adversaries, of course. They finished first and second in the 2021 Under-21 World Championship. That was Hansen's final season at Under-21 level. Miśkowiak went on to take silver last year. He's now aged out as well, and he's the only senior in this Polish team, though he doesn't actually turn 22 for another 12 days. Hansen, meanwhile, in his final season now in the youth setup, he has already started to establish himself in senior competition, made an impressive debut in the Grand Prix as third series reserve last year, came in to take 10th in Mollila. On great form again in 2023, Hansen, he was so close to qualifying for the SEC, one of 5 riders tied for the last qualification space, only to then miss out in a 4-race runoff, and missed out on the Grand Prix Challenge by just a point as well, finishing 5th in the preliminary qualifier at Ravensburg. So Hansen ready now, I would suggest, to take the next step in his career. Goes in the red helmet colour here of gate number 2 for Denmark. Also in his final season at Under-23 level, Anton Karlsson goes on the inside of him for Sweden in blue. On the outside of Hansen in yellow, it's 2021 Under-21 World Champion Jakub Miśkowiak. And just turning away from the tapes in the white helmet colour, it is Mathias Tresarrieu. Third in last year's French final, staged here in Mâcon. Mathias Tresarrieu, the French Championship, will be a 2-round series in 2023, again to be decided here in September. But Tresarrieu with some experience of this venue on his side. Heat number 4 about to get underway, and Mads Hansen has gone straight through the tapes of gate 2. Disaster then for Denmark, who already trail Poland by 5 points, and are now going to succumb to a disqualification for Mads Hansen in heat number 4. Their number 1 is going to be ruled out of this race by meeting referee Giuseppe Grandi. Straightforward decision really for the Italian, because Hansen was the first away just as they'd come under starters' orders and under the green light, and Hansen going straight through the tape. So a real opportunity now for Poland to carve out an even bigger lead over their expected main rivals Denmark, and for Sweden too to move back into a clear second place. They of course have Anton Karlsson for them off the inside gate. Karlsson, a part of the international youth scene now since 2018, when he first appeared in the Swedish teams for both the European and World Championships at Under-21 level. Swedes last in both finals that year, and a long way adrift in the Worlds in Outrup. And that really has been the state of play for some seasons now for Sweden. They didn't make the final of the Euros in 2021 because they were eliminated by Poland in the semis. They were 4th in both 2020 and last year, but they've got off to a better than expected start against Denmark tonight. And this is their opportunity to build a buffer at the end of the opening round after that disqualification for Mads Hansen. 3 riders only then for the rerun of Heat 4, Karlsson, Miśkowiak and Tresarrieu, and it's a pretty level break, and Karlsson shows alongside Miśkowiak into turn 1. He'll move the pole up coming off the second bend. They're 3 abreast now down the back straight, and it's Anton Karlsson who gets the whole shot. Miśkowiak moving into attack formation around the outside at the end of lap 1. They're side by side at the start of lap 2. Miśkowiak picks up mid-bend on the apex of turns 1 and 2, and he's run off the curb, and now Mathias Tresarrieu comes through for second place. That delights the French fans. They finally got a reason to wave the tricolour this evening in Mâcon. Jakub Miśkowiak will come back at him. He's now switched his attack to the tight inside line around 1 and 2. Mathias Tresarrieu realises he's there. He's got to force Miśkowiak to go the long way round. We know that Miśkowiak is likely the fastest rider in this trio, but Mathias Tresarrieu has home track experience, of course, and he's defending valiantly for now at least. Miśkowiak might pass Tresarrieu. He's not going to get to Karlsson at the head of the field, and that's because of this defensive ride from Mathias Tresarrieu off turn 4 for the final time. Oh, that's close for second. Anton Karlsson wins it, takes maximum benefit of the disqualification of the Dane Mads Hansen, and Sweden will move 3 points clear of Denmark at the end of the opening round of heat races in Mâcon. We'll wait for confirmation for second. It's Mathias Tresarrieu who gets it from meeting referee Giuseppe Grandi. So a busy heat 4 for the referee, who has to split Tresarrieu and Miśkowiak in a close run to the checkered flag. but it is Poland's Miśkowiak who suffers their first defeat of the night, and it's only third place behind the Frenchman, and that's a big scalp from Mathias Tresarrieu in heat number 4. Uninspiring start tonight then for Denmark. I must admit I really expected them to hit the ground running, particularly as they already know the track here. Mads Hansen, Juhl Pedersen and Jonas Seifert-Salk was Denmark's team at the 2021 European Pairs Final here in Mâcon, but those three have scored just 2 points between them thus far, and their fourth man, Tim Sorensen, has added their other 2. It's Pedersen who goes here for Denmark, the man who you'd expect to be their big hitter in the Under-23 side for next year when most of their current team graduates. Pedersen 6th in the world at Under-21 level last year, was also part of the Danes Son 2 team that finished 5th in Voyance. Heat 5 in full. Stephen Goret goes off the inside gate in the white helmet colour. Single point for him first time out in Heat 3 after a mechanical retirement for Sweden's Noel Wahlqvist. Gate 2 in the yellow helmet colour. It's back-to-back rides for Jakub Miśkowiak, the only defeated Pole thus far. Just got it wrong around the first 2 turns on the second lap of Heat 4. Came home in 3rd. Gate 3 in the blue helmet colour. It's Jonathan Grahn of Sweden. Second place for him ahead of Jonas Seifert-Salk. First time out in Heat 2. The outside gate in red, it's Juhl Pedersen. Third place for him in Heat 1 behind Mateusz Cierniak and Casper Henriksson. Starting marshal settles them in then. Second round of races here in Mâcon goes, tapes up. Not a good start off the inside gate in white from Stephen Goret, but he'll hold the inside line around the first 2 turns. Remains ahead of Jonathan Grahn. He's picked off though by Juhl Pedersen from the outside gate, and Goret chasing the back wheel of Pedersen going into turn 3 is now under threat from the Swede Jonathan Grahn for 3rd position. It is a head-to-head at the moment for 3rd place because Jakub Miśkowiak is looking much more controlled this time around now that he's hit the front and got clear. Race again for 2nd place. Stephen Goret charging hard into that 3rd turn. Slightly different approach for Juhl Pedersen, who now stretches his legs once again. But this is a competitive ride from Stephen Goret. Still right on the tail of Juhl Pedersen, thinking about a way through. It's not going to be into that turn 3, that's for sure. Each time he goes through there, Pedersen with the more acute line and Goret almost tripping all over him. One final lap to try and make the pass now for Stephen Goret. Moves slightly wider coming off the second bend. See if he can get the run on Pedersen going into turn 3. Here goes Stephen Goret with the big blast around the outside line. Pedersen with a bit of lift but will hold on. Close finish for 2nd place. So after the giant killing exploits of Mathias Tresarrieu last time out in Heat 4, Stephen Goret now appears in Heat 5, and he was giving it a real go for France. That's 3 scoring races in a row for the hosts, who will be very satisfied with what they've seen, particularly from Mathias Tresarrieu and now from Stephen Goret in that one, Heat number 5. Goret had the pace advantage over Juhl Pedersen, just couldn't find a way through, and that left him vulnerable at the end of the opening lap to Jonathan Grahn as well. But Goret managed to surge clear, get back onto the tail of Juhl Pedersen, and really kept the Dane honest right to the checkered flag of that one, Heat number 5. We're a quarter of the way through the meeting now, and it's Poland who lead it on 13, ahead of Sweden on 7. Denmark closing the gap. They're just a point behind the Swedes now on 6, and it's France who still trail, but a couple of positive rides in a row as far as the hosts are concerned. On now to Heat 6, and Sweden's number 1, Casper Henriksson, is back in action here. Still just 19 years of age, Henriksson, but 2022 was a breakthrough campaign for him. Crowned Nordic Under-19 champion on his way to a bronze medal at the European Under-19 finals. Plus, at Under-21 level, he won the Swedish title, became a world finalist, and represented Sweden in Son 2. Casper Henriksson there in the blue helmet colour, back in SGP2 this year, finished 4th at the Polish Grand Prix last month, and he was outstanding for Sweden in their Under-24 test against Denmark away in Esbjerg back in April. Certainly has a key role to play in the fight between these 2 nations on neutral ground tonight. For Denmark here in Heat 6, it's Jonas Seifert-Salk. He goes off the inside gate. 3rd place first time out for Seifert-Salk, beaten by Jonathan Grahn in Heat 2. Gate 2 in the white helmet colour for France. It's Mathias Tresarrieu. Best of their results thus far was a 2nd place for him in Heat 4 when he got the better of Jakub Miśkowiak. Gate 3 in the yellow helmet colour in this one. Bartłomiej Kowalski, the winner of Heat 3, completed a hat-trick of victories for Poland in that one. Miśkowiak suffering their first defeat in Heat 4, but Miśkowiak making amends with a victory last time out, and the Poles now lead it by 6 points ahead of Sweden, 7 their advantage over Denmark, and 9 ahead of France. Off the outside gate in blue, Casper Henriksson, 2nd place for him first time out. beat Juhl Pedersen in heat number 1. So this is heat 6. Jonas Seifert-Salk, Mathias Tresarrieu, Bartłomiej Kowalski and Casper Henriksson are underway. Fastest start off the outside from Casper Henriksson, but it's a long way to come from there. Jonas Seifert-Salk really tried to ride through Bartłomiej Kowalski going into turn 1. It left him in no man's land, and Mathias Tresarrieu of France has picked up second position. 3 riders in the mix for that second place. Casper Henriksson easily through on the inside of Jonas Seifert-Salk coming off at turn 2 with the cutback, and Seifert-Salk has now got to do the work from the very back in this heat 6. Sweden with an opportunity to extend their advantage over the Danes, and it could get even better for them here if Casper Henriksson can find a way past Mathias Tresarrieu, who at the moment is a bit of a roadblock in second position. Henriksson visibly faster, but Tresarrieu is riding the line on the inside, forcing Henriksson to go the long way round, and each time Henriksson moves off the curb, he only seems to lose ground. 1 lap to go to try and make this pass. Mathias Tresarrieu a bit too conservative there to the inside, coming off the second bend, and Henriksson's almost alongside him going into turn 3, and he's got the dirt run into that top bend. Super ride on the outside on the final lap from Casper Henriksson. Mathias Tresarrieu closed the door, bit too tight coming off the second turn, couldn't get his wheels in line and fire himself back in front, and it was Henriksson who nosed clear going around 3 and 4 for the final time. Important ride that could turn out to be for Sweden. It's an extra point for them as they now lead Denmark by 3 points in the battle for second position, and a battle for second position it is, even in the early stages of the meeting. Poland with their 5th victory in 6 races, Bartłomiej Kowalski with back-to-back successes, and the Poles now lead this meeting by 7 points, and it's over Sweden as opposed to over Denmark, who were expected to be their main rivals tonight. Good ride from Casper Henriksson coming off turn 4 just to move clear of Mathias Tresarrieu, but another competitive ride from the Frenchman nonetheless, and France now move to within a point of Denmark. It's Poland on 16, Sweden on 9, Denmark on 6 and France on 5. Heat 7 and a second ride of the night for Sweden's surprise Heat 4 winner Anton Karlsson. Karlsson, to be fair, has started to ride into some good form over the last couple of months in Swedish Elite Speedway. Regular with Västervik in his homeland since 2018. He's also a part of the Częstochowa squad in Poland. Made 5 appearances in the Under-24 Extraliga last year. Only 3 so far this season because of Tuesday evening clashes with the Swedish top flight. He also made his senior Extraliga debut back in April as a replacement for Kasper Voriner. So beginning to emerge on the international scene, Anton Karlsson goes here off gate 3. Heat 7 in full features Wiktor Pryzjemski off the inside gate in yellow for Poland, winner of Heat 2. Gate 2 in white, France's youngest rider, Theo Ugoni. Gate 3 in the blue helmet colour for Sweden, it's Anton Karlsson, celebrated his 23rd birthday 2 days ago, so very happy birthday to Anton Karlsson. Tim Sorensen goes off the outside gate here in the red helmet colour. Second place for him was Denmark's best result in the opening round of races here tonight. Second place matched by Juhl Pedersen in Heat 5. Jonas Seifert-Salk though at the back last time out. So Sweden take a 3-point lead in the battle for second position. It's Poland who lead the way on 16, ahead of Sweden on 9, Denmark on 6 and France on 5. As we come to the tape, starting marshal trying to bring them into position. Certainly Wiktor Pryzjemski, who will be the favourite here of the inside gates as well for Poland. First inside starting position that Poland have had here in Mâcon tonight. Wiktor Pryzjemski, Theo Ugoni, Anton Karlsson, Tim Sorensen for heat number 7, which gets underway with a good start off the outside gate from Tim Sorensen. He's all the way across from gate 4 to lead the pole. Wiktor Pryzjemski coming off turn 2 on the inside line. That was a brilliant first 2 turns from Tim Sorensen. And Pryzjemski has a look over his shoulder there coming off turn 4 because he obviously doesn't feel particularly fast in this heat 7. And while he tries to close down Tim Sorensen, Anton Karlsson is closing up on him for second place. Tailed off at the back somewhat Theo Ugoni, the least experienced of the French quartet, and somewhat understandably finding the pace a little too hot in his second ride as he did in his first. Good race on up front now. Tim Sorensen holds track position, but the more this race goes on, the more confident Wiktor Pryzjemski is starting to look. And the gap is down to a couple of bike lengths now as they head into the final lap. Sorensen leaving the curb. Pryzjemski Pryzjemski almost up alongside him. Sorensen gets back to the inside off turn 2, runs narrow now down the back straight. Pryzjemski will stretch his legs to the outside on 3 and 4 but can't get there. And it is Tim Sorensen who takes Denmark's first race victory of the meeting. A much needed boost that is going to be to Henrik Møller's side, as Anton Karlsson could only manage 3rd position, and Sweden's only heat winner is bested by Denmark's first heat winner in race number 7. Wiktor Pryzjemski only the 2nd pole to see his colours lowered in Mâcon this evening, thanks to a fine start from Tim Sorensen all the way across from the outside gate, and hugs the tight inside line coming off the 2nd bend. Pryzjemski completely caught by surprise there, but did enough to hold back Anton Karlsson at the end of the opening lap. And from lap 2 onwards, Pryzjemski started to build up his speed, just couldn't quite get there on the tail of Tim Sorensen. So Sorensen becomes Denmark's first heat winner, and the gap is back down to just a point between 2nd and 3rd places. Poland lead on 18, Sweden on 10, Denmark on 9, France on 5. Now Denmark turn to their number 1, Mads Hansen, as they make their way onto track for Heat 8. Hansen certainly their real star man, the only surviving member of the Danish team that won what was then the European Under-21 Team Championship at Daugava Pils in 2018. He was also a part of the side that claimed silver in the Under-21 Team World Championship in front of our cameras at Bydgoszcz in 2021. Hansen was Denmark's top scorer that night, even led the final at one stage, ultimately splitting the Polish duo. But his teammate Marcus Birkemoser was at the back, so the Danes were restricted to silver. 2nd place looks like being the realistic target for them tonight, still a point behind Sweden as we head towards the end of the 2nd round of races, with heat number 8, Tino Bouin there in the white helmet colour goes off the inside gate. Mateusz Cierniak alongside him of gate 2 in yellow, reigning Under-21 world champion and current SGP2 leader, winner of heat 1. Gate 3 in red, Mads Hansen for Denmark. He touched the tapes in his opening ride, Heat 4, so we're yet to see a great deal of him. Noel Wahlqvist, the last rider up to tapes, completes the lineup off the outside gate in blue for Sweden. Mateusz Cierniak appeared in the Polish national team's last outing in a test match against the rest of the world select side in Poznan a fortnight ago. But any hopes of a call-up for the Speedway World Cup were probably extinguished. It was a nightmare performance, picked up just 2 points. Since he won his first Under-21 title, though, before turning 20, he does still have plenty of his youth career ahead of him to try and bridge that gap to senior competition. He's already well on his way, both at Under-23 level, a real star, and likewise for Lublin in the Polish Ekstraliga. Mateusz Cierniak, just 20 years of age, pulling into position now off gate 2 in yellow. Just about ready to go. Heat number 8, Tino Bouin, Mateusz Cierniak, Mads Hansen and Noel Wahlqvist. Underway, poor start off the inside there from Tino Bouin. That's going to give a clear run to turn 1 for Mateusz Cierniak, who edges clear of Mads Hansen. Hansen relegated to 3rd position. Sheer determination though into turn 3. Muscles his way around the outside of Noel Wahlqvist for 2nd position, and now begins to give chase to Mateusz Cierniak. Front wheel up over the grass into turn 1 there for Mads Hansen as he tries to get alongside the pole. Separate race out at the back. Tino Bouin looks to have a pace advantage here against Noel Wahlqvist. Wahlqvist a little bit more conservative to the inside line, and Tino Bouin beginning to shadow Noel Wahlqvist, visibly faster around the mid-track line. Goes a little bit too far there on turns 1 and 2. So Wahlqvist has a little bit of breathing room for the moment at least, and Heat 8 is beginning to settle down. Cierniak looking comfortable up front. Hansen into 2nd position but can't find his way any further. He's pulled well clear of Noel Wahlqvist, the least experienced, you'd have to say, of the Swedish team. Tino Bouin though can't quite get on terms, so it's honours even as they come off the final turn then. Close to the finish actually for 3rd place, but Wahlqvist does hold on, so no change, as I say, after that opening lap once Mads Hansen had come through on Noel Wahlqvist. He couldn't get on terms with Mateusz Cierniak. It's back-to-back victories then for the reigning Under-21 world champion. 2nd place goes to Mads Hansen, single point in 3rd for Noel Wahlqvist. So back-to-back non-scoring rides for France means they now trail by 6 points. And as I said, it's all square between Denmark and Sweden on 11 apiece. They are 10 back from the leading poles. And a dominant ride there from Mateusz Cierniak. He and Bartłomiej Kowalski both go the opening 2 rounds unbeaten here in Mâcon. That was all settled around the opening lap. Cierniak moving far enough to block Hansen. Hansen then getting around the outside of Wahlqvist, coming off the 2nd turn. And that means that at the end of 2 rounds of races here in Mâcon, it's level on 11 apiece between Denmark and Sweden for 2nd. Heat 9 off the inside gate in the blue helmet colour, it's Noel Wahlqvist. Back-to-back rides for him. Sweden's lowest scorer, just a single point from his 2 rides. Gate 2 in the red helmet, it's Kevin Juhl Pedersen. 3 points to his name, a good second place last time out behind Jakub Miśkowiak in Heat 5. Gate 3 in white, France's highest scorer, Mathias Tresarrieu, on 3 out of their 5-point score thus far, and it could have been 6. Tresarrieu was picked off coming off the final turn of his most recent ride, Heat 6, by Casper Henriksson, but he did take a good second place first time out ahead of Jakub Miśkowiak. Completing lineup here, pre-race favourite, it is Wiktor Pryzjemski, winner of Heat 2. He's dropped just 1 point from 2 rides to Tim Sorensen in Heat 7. As we've said then, Mathias Tresarrieu, France's best performer thus far. Famous Speedway family in the country, of course, the Tresarrieu. Mathias is the nephew of Mateusz Tresarrieu, the 2022 long track world champion. Mathias was France's nomination for the Speedway Grand Prix qualifiers this season. Acquitted himself well enough in front of our cameras out in Lonigo, a 4-point tally. Probably could have taken 1 or 2 points more as well. Next up, he faces his Speedway World Cup debut on Wednesday for France, alongside his Under-23 teammate Stephen Goret. Laurent Sambaret's team declaration announced just yesterday. In the meanwhile, the Under-23 Euros here in Mâcon. This is Heat 9, which gets underway. Decent initial jump from Mathias Tresarrieu, but a poor run towards turn 1, and he's gone to the back. Wiktor Pryzjemski, unsurprisingly, leads them into turn 3. He's up ahead of Noel Wahlqvist. Now, that is a bit of a surprise. Wahlqvist in second place. Clear for the moment of Kevin Juhl Pedersen, who's beginning to build up some speed now. Slightly wider into the pits turn. He's got to be careful here not to give up another point to Mathias Tresarrieu, who is right on his tail. But the Danes very much head-to-head with the Swedes at the moment for second in this meeting. And there's a swing here in prospect for second in this race as well. Cut back off turn 2 for Kevin Juhl Pedersen. Best opportunity he's had so far. Noel Wahlqvist closes the door and runs acute down the back straight to hold that second place. And Mathias Tresarrieu beginning to get a bit of a run now from 4th position. The 3 locks absolutely level as they come into the final lap. Juhl Pedersen going wider than he wants, coming off the second bend. Tresarrieu is through for 3rd place. Pedersen back across his path into turn 3. Now has the run on Wahlqvist. Side by side coming off the final turn. Close in the run to the checkered flag. I think we'll let Giuseppe Grandi split those two. Kevin Juhl Pedersen only just seeing off the challenge of Mathias Tresarrieu going in towards turn 3. And then gets up and around the outside of Noel Wahlqvist for a side-by-side finish at the end of Heat 9. Frantic action for 2nd and 3rd places. Wiktor Pryzjemski was clear of it all. Mathias Tresarrieu just overcooking it on the final 2 turns. Desperate to find his way into a point-scoring position. And I think Kevin Juhl Pedersen has just taken it there from Noel Wahlqvist. Referee's confirmation is about to come through. Heat 9 is a win for Wiktor Pryzjemski ahead of Kevin Juhl Pedersen. Noel Wahlqvist relegated to 3rd. Mathias Tresarrieu then out at the back. So Denmark take the lead over Sweden by 13 points to 12. But it is Poland with an increasingly commanding lead. They're now 11 points up on 24. Heat 10 and our first change to the programme. It's Danish team manager Henrik Møller who is the first to use his reserve. Møller, the assistant to new Danish boss Nicky Pedersen this season. He manages the youth side. Brings in Emil Breum here to replace Jonas Seifert-Salk, the lowest scorer of the 4 starting riders for the Danes in the opening 2 rounds tonight. Now, it's not going to be easy to come in from the cold like this for Breum, but I must say I saw plenty of him commentating on the Danish Super League last season, and he's a handy performer for Esbjerg. And after winning his qualifier with a 15-point maximum, he's a world finalist in 2023 as well. Currently sits 4th in the SGP2 standings after making the podium at Gorzów last month. So a great young man to have in reserve. And if he makes the right impact here, he could be very useful for Denmark for the remainder of the night. He goes up against Anton Karlsson here of Sweden in the blue helmet colour. Karlsson winner first time out, of course, in Heat 4. Rather more modest second ride with a 3rd place behind Tim Sorensen and Wiktor Pryzjemski. For Poland here off the inside gate in Heat number 10, it's Mateusz Cierniak, one of 2 unbeaten riders for the Poles. Cierniak took Heats 1 and 8. Gate 2 blue, as we've said, Anton Karlsson, 4 points from 2 rides. Gate 3 in white, Stephen Goret, 2 3rd places for him thus far. Picked up a point at the expense of the mechanical retirement for Noel Wahlqvist in Heat 3, beat Jonathan Grahn in Heat 5. And off the outside gate in red, the reserve substitution, Emil Breum. Nothing to lose really for Denmark. Seifert-Salk, 3rd place first time out ahead of Tino Bouin, failed to score in his second ride, Heat 6. So Henrik Møller ringing the changes here. But no doubt about it, the pre-race favourite off the inside gate in the yellow helmet colour, Mateusz Cierniak, the current Under-21 World Championship leader. 10 points ahead of his nearest rival with 2 wins out of 2 in SGP2 this season so far. So well placed ahead of the final round that takes place at Wojens in September. Poland the dominant force at Under-21 level, just as they are at Under-23 level so far tonight. Underway with Heat 10. Great start off the outside gate from Emil Breum, and he's going all the way around the outside here to hit the front against Mateusz Cierniak. Real surprise as the reserve comes in from the cold to lead them on lap 1 of Heat 10. Cierniak trying to get up alongside him, gets around the outside now of Breum. Breum commits to mid-track but gets out of shape. Through comes Anton Karlsson and Stephen Goret. From ecstasy to despair in the space of a lap for Emil Breum. Start of lap 2 goes disastrously wrong. Cierniak got around him, and then Breum went skywards, went off towards the fence on the second bend. And now it's Karlsson versus Goret for second position. Breum is completely out of contention. Looks a completely different rider to what he did on the first 2 turns when he was so confident on the outside gate to power around the outside of Cierniak coming off the second bend. Cierniak now looking untroubled, is going to head to a 3rd consecutive race victory. Hat-trick for Cierniak, but it's Anton Karlsson taking 2nd place for Sweden. Stephen Goret gets another single point, so 3 points now from 3 rides for Stephen Goret, and a first point since Heat 6 on the board for France. But an important ride there for Anton Karlsson. 2nd place for him. 6 points from 3 rides. He's Sweden's top scorer. And with Denmark's representative Emil Breum out at the back, Sweden recover 2nd place. That move from Henrik Müller really has backfired. Emil Breum was looking like an inspired choice coming to the end of lap 1. But he was perturbed by Mateusz Cierniak cutting his nose off at the start of lap 2. Breum finds himself in no man's land and then picks up drive unwanted and unexpectedly, and that sends him down to 4th position. So a good first lap for Emil Breum, but from there it went wrong, and Sweden pick up 2 points over Denmark as a result. They're back into 2nd position. Poland lead on 27. Sweden now on 14 ahead of Denmark on 13, and France pick up their 6th point of the night from heat number 10. Heat 11 now up to tapes with Denmark's top scorer so far, Tim Sorensen on track. Sorensen in his 4th European Junior final scored 12 points at La Mâcon in 2019 and 8 in Tarnov last year. He is the oldest rider in tonight's field, turned 23 in May, so this is his final season at youth level. He was an Under-21 World finalist in 2019, claimed silver at the Under-21 Team World Championship in front of our cameras at Bydgoszcz in 2021. Unfortunately, ended that meeting on the injury list, of course, but bounced back to the Under-24 Extraliga title with Ostrov last year, finishing 6th in the averages, so really one of the top rising talents in Denmark, and he's proven it thus far tonight with 2 confident displays. 5 points out of a possible 6 for Tim Sorensen. Representing Sweden, who lead Denmark by 14 points to 13. Here it's Casper Henriksson. 2 second places for him, a 4-point tally. He goes off the inside gate in blue. In white for France, off gate 2, it's Tino Bouin. He's yet to score. Gate 3 in red, Tim Sorensen, the winner of Heat 7. Off the outside gate in yellow, Jakub Miśkowiak, the winner of Heat 5. Miśkowiak 3 times Under-21 Team World Champion. Already 5 times European Junior Team Champion. This is 6th appearance and bidding for another gold. Heat number 11 goes, tapes up. Better start from the 2 men off the outside gates compared to the inside. And the positions fairly well spread out by turn number 1 with Jakub Miśkowiak bursting clear. Tim Sorensen looking for his and Denmark's 2nd race victory of the night. He's going to have to do it from behind. Stretches clear of Casper Henriksson coming off turn 4. Slightly wider line at the moment for Tim Sorensen, bidding to gain ground on Jakub Miśkowiak, the race leader, but really the closer fight is for 3rd position. Tino Bouin still yet to score, but kept good pace with Noel Wahlqvist in his last ride, heat number 8. He's doing so with Casper Henriksson here, even more accomplished opposition for Tino Bouin. Frenchmen you fancy just need to make better starts, and they would certainly be closer to picking up decent points. 1 lap to go here in the head-to-head between Jakub Miśkowiak and Tim Sorensen up front. Sorensen with the cutback off turn 2. Miśkowiak starting to look a little bit vulnerable, but I think Sorensen has left it too late. Miśkowiak will hold on. Tim Sorensen 2nd, and Casper Henriksson, pulls up in the run to the line. And I think Tino Bouin may have just nicked 3rd position. Well, it will be a little bit of good fortune if he's got it there for Tino Bouin to collect a point, but you've got to be in it to win it, haven't you? and Tino Bouin had kept Casper Henriksson honest throughout, and Henriksson just slowing in the run to the line. And I think Tino Bouin's nicked third place. No doubt about what was going on up front. Victory for Jakub Miśkowiak, back-to-back wins then for him. But it was all about race for third position coming off the final turn in the end, because Miśkowiak had that fairly well settled ahead of Tim Sorensen. Faster start from the outside and boxing in Sorensen around the first two turns, but very close in the run to the finish for third place. And I can confirm Tino Bouin did indeed nick that third position and the consolation point away from Casper Henriksson. So mechanical failure cost Noel Wahlqvist a point against Stephen Goret in Heat 3. And problems for Casper Henriksson in the run to the line there in Heat 11. And that means that Denmark recapture second place in a seesaw affair between our two Scandinavian nations. So Poland on 30, Denmark 15, Sweden at 14 and France 7 as we come up to tapes for Heat 12. Off the inside gate in the yellow helmet colour for Poland here will be Bartłomiej Kowalski. 2 rides and 2 wins for him. Gate 2 in the blue helmet colour, it's Jonathan Grahn. 2 points from his 2 rides. Big break for him, 6 races without a ride since he came home at the back in Heat 5. Gate 3 in the white helmet, it's Theo Ugoni of France, their number 4, he's yet to score. And off the outside gate in the red helmet colour, it's Mads Hansen. 2 rides, but of course it was a tapes infringement in his opening outing Heat 4. He's on just 2 points. Hansen, a 2022 Danish Super League winner with Sonnyland Elite Speedway in Voyens. Also rode in the Polish second tier with Landshut last year. Strong 2023 season it's been for him so far. He's added another couple of tenths to his average since moving to Gdansk. Also racing for Västervik in Sweden, where he's a one-club man. He's had a couple of bad scores in a row in rounds 10 and 11, so he'll be keen to get his first win on the board as quickly as possible tonight. Could Heat 12 be the opportunity? Bartłomiej Kowalski on the inside in yellow will certainly be the favourite, one of the top under-21 riders at present. Won the 2023 Polish Silver Helmet at Częstochowa in May, finished second in the SGP2 qualifier at Pardubice later that month. And he's now an under-21 world finalist in his final season at that level. Currently third in the SGP2 standings, finished second to fellow countryman Cierniak at the opening round. Dropped 8 points to him at round 2 in Gorzów last month, so has 10 points to recover at Voyens in September. Teammates today, of course, which is what's made this Polish team so formidable. Heat number 12, last of the round 3 heat races, gets underway. Hansen with the better start, gets all the way across from the outside and leaves Bartłomiej Kowalski coming off turn 2. Kowalski will hit back, go straight to the outside going into turn 3. Theo Ugoni relegated to the back by Jonathan Grahn, but at the head of the field it's nose to tail between Hansen and Kowalski. Kowalski here with the cutback, big locker mid-bend here in Mâcon. Hansen is defending the line, but Kowalski clearly the faster of the 2. Reaches wide into the dirt on 3. Hansen goes to the outside to block coming off turn 4. Kowalski sends it down the inside back into turn 1. Can Hansen get round him? No, he can't. Kowalski's made a block pass there on 1 and 2. Brilliant manoeuvre from Bartłomiej Kowalski. He weighed up his opposition. He found his way onto the tail of Mads Hansen, and then at the start of lap 3 drilled his move down the inside into the pit turn, and Kowalski is streaking clear now, pulling well clear of Mads Hansen, who's been relegated to second place. Kowalski for a 3rd win out of 3. Second place for Hansen. His wait for a first race victory of the night continues. 3rd to Jonathan Grahn. Theo Ugoni out at the back. 12 races completed, 3 rounds of races tonight. Hansen on 4 points now from 3 rides. Jonathan Grahn takes the single point, so Sweden slipped 2 points now back from Denmark, but it could have been 3. Hansen leading for over 2 laps there, only for Bartłomiej Kowalski to make a forceful pass at the start of lap 3 and preserve his maximum run. So Poland with 2 riders still unbeaten after 3 rides apiece. Mateusz Cierniak and Bartłomiej Kowalski, the Under-21 World Championship regulars, as Kowalski moves through on Mads Hansen to hit the front in heat number 12, and Poland lead it by 16 points after 12 completed races here in Mâcon. Heat 13 with Jonas Seifert-Salk making his return to the track. The inclusion of Emil Breum in Heat 13 didn't really work out for Denmark, so they're as per programme here. Seifert-Salk, who rides for Slangerup in the Danish League and Poznan in Poland's second tier, making his 4th appearance in the Euros. He was actually named in 2018 as well, but didn't get a ride. 13 points he tallied at La Motte-Landéan in 2019. Mâcon, not such a good track for him. He failed to score here in the European Pairs final in 2021. He's notched just 1 point from 2 rides so far tonight. Heat 13 in full. Jakub Miśkowiak off the inside in yellow, winner of Heats 5 and 11 for Poland. Gate 2 in blue for Noel Wahlqvist, 2 third places for a 2-point score from his 3 rides. Gate 3 in red, Jonas Seifert-Salk, his first appearance on track since Heat 6. Theo Ugoni, 3 last places so far for the Frenchman. He goes off the outside. First of the round 4 heat races then. Long hold, but we are underway. And Ugoni's made a decent jump off gate number 4. He's going to be picked off by the Swede and the Dane as they come around turns 1 and 2. But neither of the Scandinavians are going to get to Jakub Miśkowiak down the back straight, and he's already bursting well clear. So it's 2 of the lesser ranked riders, Noel Wahlqvist for Sweden and Jonas Seifert-Salk for Denmark, who are scrapping it out here for second place. But in reality, it looks more as though Ugoni is starting to build some confidence now from 4th position and try and gain some ground on Noel Wahlqvist. Wahlqvist, the least impressive of the Swedish riders thus far, retired with mechanical difficulties in his opening ride. Did manage to get the better of Tino Bouin in Heat 8 and Mathias Tresarrieu in Heat 9. Looks as though he's going to pick up a single point at the expense of the French representative Theo Ugoni here in Heat 13. But this one, pretty pedestrian, you'd have to say. Jakub Miśkowiak making it his own. First 2 turns settling Seifert-Salk versus Wahlqvist, and it is Jakub Miśkowiak who takes his 3rd consecutive race victory in Mâcon tonight, the winner of Heat 13. 2nd over the line for Jonas Seifert-Salk. He'll be relieved about that. His best score of the evening so far. 3rd place to Noel Wahlqvist once again. 3 points from 4 rides now for him. Theo Ugoni still yet to score. Straightforward race, all decided on the opening lap. Jakub Miśkowiak demonstrating his class. But Jonas Seifert-Salk will be relieved after a stuttering start to this meeting, just to get out in front of Noel Wahlqvist and build a gap from there for a comfortable 2nd place. That's a 4th race in a row now for Denmark defeating Sweden, so their lead is up to 3 points. It's Poland on 36, Denmark on 19, Sweden trailing on 16, and France remain on 7. Sweden's best chance to hit back against Denmark will be with their top scorer Anton Karlsson on show for Heat 14 here in the blue helmet colour. Juhl Pedersen will go for Denmark on the inside starting position. 5 points from his 3 rides so far, 2 second places in Heats 5 and 9. Gate number 2 in the yellow helmet will be Bartłomiej Kowalski for Poland, so far undefeated, 3 heat victories already under his belt. Gate 3 in white for Tino Bouin. Single point last time out, his only score thus far in Heat 11. And off the outside gate in blue, Anton Karlsson. As we said, Sweden's top scorer thus far, the winner of Heat 4, Sweden's only Heat winner. Denmark have only had 1, and the rest have been taken by a dominant Poland side who are nearing victory in this European Championship. There in the red helmet colour is Juhl Pedersen, currently rides for Daugava Pils in the Polish 3rd division. Actually convinced club bosses to sign him up last year after winning an SGP2 qualifier there. Then finished the season with a creditable average, almost 1.7 points per ride, although he's had a more taxing time in 2023. Juhl Pedersen also appears for Grinstead in his homeland, where he finished 2nd in last year's Danish Under-21 final. Tonight is actually his debut at Under-23 level. He was named last year, but he didn't get a ride. And I'm quite sure he'll be back next year when he'll be one of the more senior members of the Danish squad, with 3 of Denmark's number, age 23 and ageing out before 2024. So Denmark currently up by 19 points to 16 against Sweden. This meeting has turned into a 2-horse race for 2nd. Poland well clear at the top, and France increasingly tailed off at the back. Heat 14 takes up. Good start off the outside once again from Anton Karlsson. That's why he's been scoring so well tonight. He's electric away from the tapes, but from the outside gate there's little he can do. He's going to duck back to the inside into turn 3, try and get alongside Juhl Pedersen, and Anton Karlsson almost goes through the side of him there, lifting dramatically coming off turn 4, and I think that might have settled this one, Heat 14. Bartłomiej Kowalski unsurprisingly well clear at the head of the field. Juhl Pedersen now fairly comfortable in second place, and Anton Karlsson needs a real sprint finish to this one, but he's losing ground with every passing turn of the wheel here. So the position's beginning to stretch out. Tino Bouin not particularly close to the tail of Anton Karlsson. This is bad news as far as Sweden are concerned. Karlsson down in third position. This is going to be a fourth consecutive race in which the Swedes haven't finished in the top two places. And Denmark beginning to assert their authority now over the silver medal position. Victory for Bartłomiej Kowalski in Heat 14 ahead of Juhl Pedersen in second, Anton Karlsson in third, and Tino Bouin at the back. And in recent races, things have largely been going as you might have anticipated. It should have been Denmark second and Sweden third in Heat 11 as well, but for those problems for Casper Henriksson coming off the final turn. Heats 12, 13 and 14 have been Poland, Denmark, Sweden and France, and that's the way they stack up in the pecking order overall. Anton Karlsson actually made a decent start there off the outside gate, tried to cut back off turn 2 and had the inside into bend 3. Juhl Pedersen, though, getting to the dirt before him, and when Karlsson did get there, the bike reared in ugly fashion, and he was fortunate not to collect Pedersen, because that would have been a nasty incident coming off turn number 4. Instead, it is Poland, Denmark, Sweden and France once again, third consecutive race, meaning that Poland now lead by 18 points over Denmark, and the Danes' lead over Sweden is up to 4. That's the biggest it's been all night thus far. So 18 points, as we've said, is the gap between Poland and Denmark. 18 points available now from 6 remaining races, and already at this stage the Poles can afford to ease off the gas. Their team boss, Rafał Dobrucki, will be happy with what he's seen so far tonight, particularly with all but one of his men eligible for Son 2 next month in Latvia. And it's likely with that meeting in mind that he gives Damian Ratajczak a run out here in Heat 15. Just 18 years of age, Ratajczak commentated on his Extraliga debut on his 16th birthday for Leszno. He's now among the top 10 in the Under-24 Extraliga for the Bulls and their star reserve in the Extraliga itself. He was racing for them last night, so almost 1,500 kilometres away. The same challenge for his teammates, actually, because Kowalski was also in Leszno yesterday. Miśkowiak and Cierniak in Lublin, Pryzjemski in Bydgoszcz. None of them showing any signs of tiredness, though. And if Ratajczak scores for Poland here, or we don't have a Danish winner, this will be the race that settles in. Heat 15, with Mathias Tresarrieu off the inside gate in white. France have scored just 2 heat points from Heat 7 onwards, so they'll be keen to get amongst it here. Gate number 2 in the red helmet colour, Tim Sorensen, Denmark's top performer thus far, 7 points from 3 rides. Gate 3 in the yellow helmet colour, Damian Ratajczak comes in officially to replace Mateusz Cierniak, so Cierniak unbeaten from 3 rides and will sit out his 4th. And off the outside gate here in the blue helmet colour, it is Jonathan Grahn. Grahn with a 2nd place in his opening ride, has only added 1 point since. Downward trend in recent races for Sweden. As we've said, France have been struggling as well, with just the 2 points from their last 8 races. Takes up on Heat 15. Good start again from the outside gate for Sweden. This time it's for Jonathan Grahn, but Tim Sorensen's equal to him around the first 2 turns. Damian Ratajczak surprisingly tailed off at the back, coming in from the cold in Heat 15. Far from straightforward, it's proving for the Polish reserve, but it's Tim Sorensen who leads the way, bidding for Denmark's 2nd race victory of the meeting. It would also be Sorensen's 2nd race victory of the meeting, Denmark's only previous heat winner, and he's beginning to accelerate, clear now of Jonathan Grahn in 2nd place. 3rd still with Mathias Tresarrieu. This is something of a surprise, to be perfectly honest. Damian Ratajczak, a real class performer, but he's being overshadowed here by a good race for 2nd position. Mathias Tresarrieu starting to gain some ground over the last lap or so on Jonathan Grahn. He's got 1 more lap to try and make the pass in the 2nd half of this Heat 15. But I think Jonathan Grahn is just about going to know enough to hold on. Tresarrieu will get France back on the scoreboard, though, for the first time since Tino Bouin's consolation point in Heat 11. So Tresarrieu gets across the line ahead of Ratajczak, really squeezed out on the first 2 turns, the Polish reserve. And that's a rare blot on the copybook of the Poles, whose wait to confirm this European title will have to continue for at least 1 more race. Tim Sorensen wins it for Denmark, and Poland with a non-score. So 15 points now the gap. Still 15 points up for grabs in the remaining 5 heats of the evening. Really, we're looking at a miracle scenario where Denmark would win every race and Poland would be last in all of them. But of course, that would have been even more the case before that one. Mathias Tresarrieu with a good pursuit there on Jonathan Grahn, but was unable to find his way through. 15 completed races, 3/4 of the meeting done and dusted. Poland's gap is narrowed by 3 points, but they still are 15 points up on Denmark, with 15 points available in the remaining 5. So second championship point to Poland here in Heat 16. Another 5-3 nils to Denmark still needed to draw this meeting, and surely the European Under-23 title will be settled here. Poland, remember, need just 1 point from 5 heats, and they have their number 1 on track here. In fact, all 4 number 1s on track for Heat 16. Mads Hansen for Denmark off the inside gate in the red helmet colour. 2 second places, the best of his results after his disqualification first time out. Gate 2 in the yellow helmet colour for Wiktor Pryzjemski, winner of Heats 2 and 9. Second place in Heat 7 behind Tim Sorensen, his only defeat. Gate 3 in the blue helmet colour, Casper Henriksson. 2 second places to start the night. Non-score last time out, mechanical failure coming off the final turn. On the last lap, he was pipped by Tino Bouin to the checkered flag. And off the outside gate here for France will be Steven Goret. 3 third places for him, so he has picked up a point in each of his rides. And he scored 3 of the 8-point tally. The other 4 points by Mathias Tresarrieu and 1 from Tino Bouin for France. But it does look as though it's going to be Wiktor Pryzjemski who gets this European title over the line for Poland. Already Under-21 team world champion with Poland last year in Son 2 at Wojens, alongside Jakub Miśkowiak and Mateusz Cierniak. Still only 18 years of age, in fact still competing at Under-19 level. Polish bronze helmet winner at Gorzów in May. Now through to the European final that takes place next month. Business to be done here in Heat 16. Last of the round 4 heat races, and with 4 races to spare, Poland looking to confirm the title. Pryzjemski is last away, but he only needs 1 point from this race, and he's already through on Goret and Henriksson down the back straight in Heat 16. Henriksson back at him here. Race for second position behind Mads Hansen, who's the breakaway early leader. Hansen off the inside gate and making that pay. Hugging the tight line now. Pryzjemski, if he wants another victory, is going to have to move off that curb, but at the moment he's got more to think about from behind, with Casper Henriksson lining him up. Big, bold outside move there going off turn 4. I think he's gone too far now on turn 1 at the start of lap 3, but again, Henriksson showing strongly. Pryzjemski looks like he's getting bottled up now behind Hansen on the inside. He's tried to move mid-track to box out Henriksson, but actually he's found himself on no man's land, and Henriksson's got the faster line here on the mid-track. We'll see if he can pull level coming off the final turn. That's when it really matters. Pryzjemski even more forceful this time into turn 3, so Henriksson goes for the cutback. A brilliant ride from Casper Henriksson, takes second place. Wiktor Pryzjemski seals the title for Poland, but hardly in style. He gets there ahead of Steven Goret for third position, and that will be enough. Denmark provide the heat winner in Mads Hansen. Wiktor Pryzjemski will come round on a lap of honour. Sensational Speedway in Heat 16, all for second place. But instead of the pole nicking the position and sealing it in style, it was Casper Henriksson who kept Wiktor Pryzjemski more than honest there in Heat 16. So Pryzjemski gets it over the line, but it rather has been stuttering over the line in the last 2 heats for Poland. European Under-23 team champions in 2023, but they've only scored 1 point in the last 2 races. Denmark have won both and are now 6 points clear of Sweden. So increasingly it looks as though our medal rankings are all but settled. Sweden still have a chance to get back in it, particularly if they can count on rides like that. Determined effort from Casper Henriksson. His third second place of the night. He moves on to 6 points from 4 rides after that last bend pass on Wiktor Pryzjemski in Heat 16. Heat 17, Damian Ratajczak there coming in for his second ride of the evening. So his teammate Mateusz Cierniak will finish on a 3-ride, 9-point maximum. Ratajczak, meanwhile, with plenty more youth competition to think about this season. He's through to his second European Under-19 final after finishing second in last month's qualifier. So he'll be heading to Gorzów in August and probably be under consideration for the European Under-19 pairs for Poland as well. And even at 18 years of age, already one of Poland's top Under-21 talents. Finished second at this year's Polish silver helmet at Częstochowa in May. Made it through the qualifier at Wojens for a place in the SGP2 series. And made the podium at the opening round in Prague. Sits 5th overall in the Under-21 World Championship. And he must be a contender at least for one of Rafał Dobrocki's Son 2 places. Cierniak and Kowalski should be nailed on starters. The third spot is a bit more up in the air, so Ratajczak will be keen to prove what he's capable of here after a non-scoring first ride as a substitute in Heat 15. Heat 17 then, off the inside gate in the red helmet colour here, we've got Jonas Seifert-Salk, 3 points from 3 rides for him. Remember, he was substituted out of Heat 10. Gate 2 in the blue helmet colour for Sweden, it's Noel Wahlqvist, their lowest scorer on 3. Gate 3 in white for Theo Ugoni, and off the outside gate in the yellow helmet colour, Damian Ratajczak. Ratajczak, the comfortable favourite then here against the lowest scorers in this Heat 17. Green lights on and we're underway, and Ratajczak is a bike length clear by the time they get to the first turn. From the wide outside, he's across the front of Jonas Seifert-Salk for the race lead down the back straight. Seifert-Salk clear of Noel Wahlqvist. And we'll see now whether Theo Ugoni can do something from the back for third position. Good race we've got up front here. Bit of an overlap for Seifert-Salk going into turn 1. And Ratajczak realises he's there and moves the block. Seifert-Salk now with the cutback. Ratajczak should have it with that mid-track line. Increasingly favourable as the meeting goes on, but no! Jonas Seifert-Salk comes back at him into the pitch turn. Ratajczak now with the cutback. Great race considering that the championship was settled last time out in Heat 16 before the grading break. Ratajczak back through on Seifert-Salk. Cut back again from the Dane. 1 lap to go. Damian Ratajczak, the youngster, versus Jonas Seifert-Salk, older and far more experienced. Can he find his way through? 2 turns to make the pass stick. Seifert-Salk will go deep on turn 3. Tries to come around but locks up off turn 4, and that settles it. Impressive victory in the end from Damian Ratajczak, but a great race. Final round of races with the meeting looking increasingly settled, and they were riding as if the title was still on the line there. Ratajczak determined to become Poland's 5th different race victor, and eventually shakes clear of Jonas Seifert-Salk. Back-to-back second places to finish the meeting programme for Seifert-Salk on 5 points. Ratajczak with a victory after a non-score in his previous ride, Heat 15. Third goes the way of Noel Wahlqvist, so 4 third places in a row for him, and a 4-point score with which he ends the night. And Theo Ugoni, unfortunately for him, has found the going just a little bit too tough here in Mâcon this evening, and 5 rides without a point for him. So the overall standings after 17 completed races, 3 still to go. Poland leaded on 43, Denmark second on 29, Sweden now 7 points back on 22. Heat 18 then will be Denmark's first chance to claim the silver medal. They sit 7 points clear. Only 6 points available in Heats 19 and 20. So if Mads Hansen beats Jonathan Grahn here, our under-23 world rankings will be settled for another year. Grahn then, the man with the pressure on his shoulders for Sweden, actually beat Hansen in the European under-21 final back in 2020 at Gdansk. Finished an impressive 5th while Hansen was 9th. Since graduating that age group, hasn't really made the expected progress. Very underwhelming at reserve for Indiana and Kumla this season, particularly struggling away from home. And Jonathan Grahn with 5 points so far tonight, compared to 7 for Hansen. You see here in the red helmet colour, of those 2, he'll certainly be the favourite. Heat 18, inside gate blue for Jonathan Grahn. That might work in his favour, that gate 1 position. Gate 2 in white for Tino Bouin, 3rd highest scorer for France with that single point he picked up in Heat 11. Gate 3 in the yellow helmet colour here will be Wiktor Pryzjemski. 2 heat victories, a 2nd and a 3rd, so not the most impressive of nights by comparison to the likes of Cierniak and Kowalski, Poland's number 1. And off the outside gate in the red helmet colour, Mads Hansen. He's certainly improved as the meeting has gone on. So too the Danes in general, to be perfectly honest, haven't been out of the top 2 positions in any race following that non-score from their reserve Emil Breum in Heat 10. Mads Hansen, 2 second places in Heats 8 and 12 before a victory last time out in Heat 16. Looking to finish with another here. Hansen off the outside gate, the last rider to second. Heat 18, and it's all about the duel between Sweden and Denmark for silver. Starting marshal just trying to get the riders into position. Now we're ready to go. Heat 18, riders looking down at the magnets. Tapes up and away they go. And it's Hansen first to show from the outside gate. There on the inside of him, Wiktor Pryzjemski. They'll go side by side off turn 2 and down the back straight. But crucially, the Dane is ahead of the Swede. Mads Hansen in 2nd place. Could go even better here by hitting the front. Puts a bike between himself and Jonathan Grahn. And surely from here, it's Denmark for silver in 2023. Poland have already sealed gold. France can't do anything to get out of the basement position tonight. This is all about gaining experience for them. but in an entertaining seesaw struggle between Sweden and Denmark. Denmark have found another gear in the latter stage of the meeting. Pryzjemski back at Hansen there. Hansen only just clearing the pole coming off turn 2 and down the back straight. A bike length in it then with 1 lap to go. Pryzjemski beaten by Hansen in heat 16. Looks as though he's going to succumb again here in heat 18. He's going to go wide into turn 3, but Mads Hansen now has built a bit of a buffer, and Mads Hansen brings home silver in his final season at under-23 level for Team Denmark at the European Under-23 Team Championship. It is Mads Hansen and Denmark who take second place overall. One-wheel celebration for Wiktor Pryzjemski. Doesn't look too disappointed about that. He's going to finish his night on 11 points. Hansen also into double figures now with that race victory. Back-to-back wins, heat 16 and 18. Could have been looking at a slightly different meeting if Hansen had turned up in that fashion from the very start. Frankly, the Danes lost too many points to Sweden and to a lesser extent France in those early races. And that's what's left them so far behind the poles with 2 races to go. 45 points to Poland, 32 to Denmark, 23 now to Sweden. They cannot catch the Danes. And those are your 4 positions settled in the 2023 European Under-23 Team Championship. So the remaining 2 races are now just for pride. Denmark will rest their top scorers and give back-to-back outings to reserve Emil Breum. Heat 19, though, will be his first appearance since Heat 10. So this is not going to be a straightforward finish to the night for Emil Breum. 4 riders coming up to the tapes with Steven Goret on the inside gate in the white helmet colour for France. 3 third places in his opening 3 rides. Non-score last time out in Heat 16. Gate number 2 alongside him already up at the tapes, Jakub Miśkowiak. 3 heat wins in a row coming into this one for him. Poland, though, have only picked up 6 points from the last 4 races. Compare that to their earlier form when they had a streak of 7 consecutive race wins, and you can see that they've eased off the gas somewhat. Gate 3 in red for Emil Breum, the Denmark reserve, non-scored in his only previous outing, Heat 10, but did make a fast start. We'll see what he can do here off the outside gate in blue there. Casper Henriksson, the number 1 for Sweden. 3 second places for him, and could have had another point in Heat 11, but lost out just in the run to the line with mechanical issues. 6 points then his tally. Favourite here is certainly going to be Jakub Miśkowiak for Poland in the yellow helmet colour, their elder statesman, even at the age of just 21. Great deal of experience Jakub Miśkowiak has got to his name. Has had a swift rise in the sport, which I suppose was always destined. His uncle Robert Miśkowiak was under-21 world champion back in 2004, and Jakub won this title for the first time in 2017. He was just 16 years of age when he made his international bow. Massive breakthrough he made in 2020 and 2021 with Częstochowa, became one of the highest scorers in the Polish Ekstraliga. His progress has stalled over the last couple of years, and this kind of meeting, now that he's graduated from under-21 competition, certainly doing his confidence the world of good, I'm sure. Here we go then for the penultimate race of the night. Miśkowiak's actually been left at the tapes, completely misses it, and first to show on the inside is Steven Goret. They'll try to come around the outside of the Frenchman now, down the back straight. Hitting the front is Emil Breum, the Danish reserve. Watch for Casper Henriksson. His outside passes were outstanding against Wiktor Pryzjemski last time out, and he's going to try and do the same here up front against Emil Breum. Breum, though, has got track position and a little bit of a lead in contrast to Pryzjemski previously. Henriksson fending off Goret whilst going on the attack against Emil Breum, so we've got a good race here in Heat 19. Jakub Miśkowiak seems content just to watch on. I'm not surprised, frankly, that the Poles will just be keen to tick this meeting off as another one done and dusted. Think about bigger things still to come. Emil Breum up on one wheel. That's the opportunity that Casper Henriksson has been waiting for. A mistake from Breum. Henriksson then bobbles and goes wide coming off the second bend. Breum recovers the race lead. Henriksson's going to go deep on the dirt. Turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Henriksson's done it again! Victory! This time in Heat 19. Only the second different Swedish race winner tonight. And Casper Henriksson, their number 1, has saved one of his party pieces till last. He did it to Wiktor Pryzjemski in Heat 16. He came from even further back that time around against Emil Breum. And the racing, well, you almost wish that the meeting was starting now, don't you? Because the last few heats have been outstanding. Casper Henriksson playing his part in that with a great ride in Heat 16 and another brilliant effort there in Heat 19. Henriksson down the inside into turn 1 for the final lap. A slight mistake at the end of lap 3 from Emil Breum. He went for the cutback, and then Henriksson just went all the way round him on turns 3 and 4 to take his first race victory of the night and end his evening on a high. 9 points for Casper Henriksson then. He at the moment is Sweden's top scorer. Anton Karlsson still to come in Heat 20, last race of the night. But here's your confirmed result of Heat 19. Casper Henriksson victorious ahead of Emil Breum and Stephen Goret. Jakub Miśkowiak, once he'd missed that start and missed it badly, he looked frankly disinterested, just running round at the back. So Poland easing off the gas, lose another 2 points to Denmark, but still have that unassailable 11-point lead. And all that now remains is our top scorers race, Heat 20. Well, it should be a top scorers race. We've got reserves on show for our top 2 nations, so that should even the odds somewhat. Rafał Dobrucki moves to give Damian Ratajczak a third outing in 6 races, and that also protects Bartłomiej Kowalski's 12-point maximum. So Mateusz Cierniak finishing on a 9-point maximum, and Bartłomiej Kowalski also unbeaten in his case on 12. Emil Breum coming in. So Tim Sorensen will sit out this one. He finishes joint top scorer with Mads Hansen on 10 for Denmark. And there in the white helmet colour, Mathias Tresarrieu, France's top scorer. 4 points from his 4 rides. It's been a creditable display in particular from Mathias Tresarrieu. Also for Stephen Goret with 4 points on the board. Tino Bouin and Theo Ugoni don't have the kind of experience that Tresarrieu does. He's raced in Poland, likewise for Stephen Goret. But they've not been off the pace at any stage. They just need to be making faster starts, and that's something they'll be working on, I'm sure, in the French Speedway League when that gets back up and running. So Heat 20 then, across the tapes. Damian Ratajczak off the inside in yellow, the winner of Heat 17. Represents Poland here, 45 points for Poland. Gate number 2 in the red helmet colour for Denmark, who are on 34 points. Emil Breum. Second place for him last time out. Breum failed to score in his first ride, so 2 points from 2 rides for the reserve. Gate 3, Sweden in the blue helmet colour. They're on 26 points, so 8 down now on Denmark with 1 race remaining. Anton Karlsson, their top scorer prior to these nominated races. Now 2 points behind Casper Henriksson, so he'll need to match Henriksson's win if he's to finish on a double-figure score and as top scorer. Mathias Tresarrieu, second place first time out. He's had 2 third places since. France's top scorer here goes off the outside. Heat 20 then, riders looking down at the magnets. Last race of the night. Mathias Tresarrieu with a great jump from gate number 4. Could we have a home hero to round out the night? He's challenged on the inside now by Emil Breum. Side by side into turn 3. Breum has track position. Tresarrieu with the cutback. Oh, the French fans going wild. Their team dead and buried in 4th position in the standings. But Mathias Tresarrieu putting on a show for them here. Lap number 2. Breum comes through again. Tresarrieu will try the cutback, but this time Breum's hit the dirt and that should be him away and gone. Race now is for 2nd position. Tresarrieu challenged by Anton Karlsson. Karlsson moving to block Ratajczak. That actually works quite nicely for Tresarrieu, who is now able to watch a rider in front of him, just follow him round, try and keep up his momentum. But the faster of the 2 men out at the back is in 4th position, and Ratajczak just cannot land a blow on Anton Karlsson. So it does look as though Mathias Tresarrieu is going to hold on for another 2nd place. Would have sent the fans into raptures here in Mâcon if Tresarrieu had been able to hold on to his lead. He sat in top spot coming into lap 2. Good effort from him, but it is Emil Breum who eventually will not be denied. And Breum wins Heat 20. 5-point score in the end for him from 3 rides. Mathias Tresarrieu, in fact all 4 of the riders will come round for a lap of honour to take the applause of the crowd. It's been an entertaining meeting, to be perfectly honest. The meeting result is exactly as you would have anticipated. Poland looking completely untroubled throughout. Denmark working harder than they probably would have expected for 2nd place. Sweden keeping them honest in the first half of proceedings, but the second half of this meeting, Denmark really have steamrolled their opposition. Haven't been out of the top 2 in any race from Heat 11 onwards. And Emil Breum, just their latest Heat winner. But Mathias Tresarrieu deserves credit for his role in keeping some entertainment for the French fans tonight. Damian Ratajczak there getting the bumps, but his contribution was pretty limited, you'd have to say. The Poles just celebrating amongst themselves now. clear victory in the 2023 European Under-23 Team Championship. So the results of the final race and our final standings: victory for Emil Breum ahead of Mathias Tresarrieu, Anton Karlsson and Damian Ratajczak. And your 2023 classification: 4th position for France on 11 points, 3rd place and a bronze medal for Sweden with 27, 2nd place and a silver for Denmark on 37, and your European champions yet again are Poland on 45. So at the end of an entertaining night Speedway, all that remains is to hand out the FIM Europe medals to our podium trio. Poland, your European champions, silver medalist Denmark and bronze medalist Sweden. Very different meeting tonight for Sweden compared to their semi-final out in Stralsund. They had an inconsistent start, only to come from behind. They led from heat 14 onwards and put in a strong finish. Today they led Denmark at the halfway mark, but ultimately finished 10 points behind them in 3rd. Nonetheless, this is Sweden's first medal since 2019 at La Motte-Londeron, repeating their 2008 team's gold medal exploit. Still some way off, but aside from Anton Karlsson, a young team, they've got 2 19-year-olds there up on the podium tonight, and they'll be back certainly to have another go. 2nd place for Denmark, who continue their run of having been medalists every year but 2010. They now face a changing of the guard. Mats Hansen was part of the Under-21 Euros as far back as 2018. Seifert-Salk, part of the Under-21 Team World Championship that year. They and Tim Sorensen will be 24 years old next season. Hansen graduates with 6 silver medals and a gold. But this will be a particularly special night for Kevin Juhl Pedersen and Emil Breum as they pick up a silver FIM Europe medal. But for Poland, it's business as usual. Their 5th consecutive European junior title. A 5th title at this level for Jakub Miśkowiak. A 4th victory in the Euros for Mateusz Cierniak. And a 2nd for Bartłomiej Kowalski. Pryzjemski and Ratajczak securing their first golds, but at just 18 years of age, so a long time still to ride at Under-23 level for them. Poland's attentions will now turn to the Under-21 Team World Championship, Mâcon 2, next month in Latvia. 9 consecutive Under-21 Team World Championships already to their name. But that's all from Mâcon. So from me, Alex Raby, it's goodbye for now.